So, should I be uploading music to YouTube in 2020? Short answer, yes. End of video. Hello guys, so welcome to the musicbusiness.io video and podcast. And the question today is quite a simple one. Should I be uploading music to YouTube in 2020? And the short answer simply is yes. Yes, you absolutely should. However, I get the pushback. I get why there's an attitude that maybe it's not worth it or it's too hard to push through and things like that. And in the previous video, we covered a bunch of tools and things you can use to help you achieve what you're after. So make sure you do the right things and you have some success with it by doing a bit of research first. But in short, yes, hundreds and thousands of people are uploading videos and music content to YouTube at the moment. And over 1 billion more people in the next few years are due to come onto YouTube. So it's not as if there's no demand for it. It's already happening. The thing is, people kind of have a scarcity in their mind that so many other people are doing it. Why bother? I'm not going to break through that noise. And I get that, because especially in music, there's always been like a gatekeeper to your music, who they decide who you can put it out, like what label it goes on, what platforms it can be on, if you're even allowed to like have and make music. But you control this, and you don't need that kind of like backing behind you. It can just be a really small following. I mean, if 100 people regularly tune in, listen to and consume your music, that's amazing. Like, really, it is. If you were to perform regularly to a room of 100 people, you're in a great position there. And that's what people kind of think. You have to hunt for millions and millions in numbers, and it's just not the case. And the other thing is, streaming's becoming more and more prevalent. It's becoming the major way that people consume music. And YouTube is part of that streaming platform and part of that streaming game. So YouTube Music is absolutely a thing. People buy into like YouTube Red and the YouTube Music platform and the whole ecosystem. And they do consume music that way. I see it regularly. When I check my revenue in DistroKid each and every month, I see that YouTube revenue is growing. And then you've got the aspect of just uploading the song and being a channel that's grown big enough to have adverts and monetization on it. That's another form of revenue from your music and your same track. So yeah, absolutely, you should be uploading your music and really showing what you do in 2020, regardless of how saturated you think it feels. If you're confident in your music and you want people to hear it, you need to be in the place where people are actually listening and consuming. And this currently is one of the biggest places you can go to, and it's part of the whole streaming ecosystem. And if the whole streaming ecosystem is something that is daunting to you, and you're struggling with how even to get people listening to that, head over to musicbusiness.io. There is the Musician's Guide to Streaming ebook. It's completely free. Like, you can just download it, go in there. I think it's still on the top banner. If not, there's a link to it somewhere on the home page. And yeah, you can download that, and that breaks down how I took my streams, which I let die off accidentally, really. I just stopped paying attention. I now have one day a month where I will go in and focus on that and make sure it doesn't happen again, because I built up to only like 1,000 listeners a month on the likes of Spotify and Apple Music and everything, all split. Like, it was doing all right, and I got complacent. I just let it fade off. But what this ebook does, it shows how I went from about 5 plays a day on the likes of Spotify, because that's the one that's public. People can always see what your plays are on Spotify. That's why I reference that. My actual biggest revenues, by the way, are Apple Music, Deezer, Google Play, then Spotify currently. That's partly due to the way they pay out, and partly due to the number of people listening on all of them. But if you have a look at my Spotify numbers, you can see what they're doing. You know that I've got another 3 revenue streams that are actually above that, which is always interesting to know, right? Sorry, what this ebook basically does, it says how I took my streams that dropped to about 5 a day and I got it back up into like the 400 region just on one platform, and how I did it, how I went about it. You can copy it. You can look at the information that I took, look at the research I did, and apply it to yourself. And if you need a step-by-step guide, there's a step-by-step guide available on Music Business. But that ebook should be enough to give you some energy and get things flowing if you're stuck in that streaming sphere and you're not confident with how it all works, because it's a daunting thing. I was in the mindset of put CDs out and people are going to buy CDs and things like that, and when I first started doing music, but there's been a huge switch, and like streaming is the big consumer now, and I think it's fantastic because there's no hurdle for like a new fan to jump over. They can go on Spotify, and even with a free account they can hit play and they should be able to hear one of your tracks. Like, they didn't have to pay for it, but you're still going to get some revenue for it. If you generate a new fan, you've generated someone who's going to keep helping and supporting you. I love that. Before you had to always sort of like, yeah, here's a free download. Now would you buy the CD? Now that friction aspect's gone, which for me, I think that's awesome. I know a lot of people are big on the hating of streaming, but they were doing well in the CD game. I started doing this just as the switch was happening, like Kazaa and all the download platforms was still a big naughty thing, but we've kind of like equalized now, and there's a new generation. And hey, I absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic. YouTube's a huge part of that. So yes, you should be getting your music uploaded onto YouTube in 2020. There's no doubt about it. And the big question is, how do you break that? Now, it's different to what I've done in the musician streaming guide, because we're talking about primarily a video platform. And like I say, yeah, people come on for the music streaming aspect of it. They have the YouTube music streaming app, but they're likely going to be listening to creators they know and artists they know. And using the YouTube video platform, what we're doing right now, is 100% the way you need to go about it. So what you really need to think is not, should I be putting my music on, but what value aspects can I bring in a video format that's going to get people interested and involved in my music and what I'm doing. The simplest example I can think of is someone who perhaps plays guitar, has done some music recently, and like you do a stripped down acoustic version on guitar and just on film, just in this kind of format. That brings an entertainment value for people who like watching that kind of thing. Now, then you've also got the ability to do a breakdown video of how I wrote this song, strip it down. I chose these 4 chords because they give this kind of progression, and you're able to do this melody on top of it. The way I do things on the Unders channel is I will like do little tips and tutorials while I'm building the track, so people get to hear it. Then I'll release the track, push that, and anyone who asked about it in those video comments, I'll make sure I send it to them. And then after the fact, I'll usually do like a full track breakdown for the people who like to sit there for an hour and see how I put the whole track together. Like, that works for me. And then out of that one track that's maybe, I don't know, picked up a couple of thousand plays in its first month, it also got heard like a few hundred, maybe a couple of thousand times before it ever came out. And then the full breakdown, it will get heard another few thousand times, and hopefully the people who are interested in it listen through those, go and listen to the track as well. So that's the value aspect of how do you get someone like listening to your music on the streaming platform that's overly busy. You give them some kind of value first. So I teach people how I do it, or I set a curiosity value. Like, people want to know how this kind of music's made, who the vocalist is, how I got a particular sound on the track. Answer those questions. Little video, only has to be a few minutes long. You can have a look at the Unders channel, see some of the popular videos are incredibly short. One of like my most played videos on YouTube, oddly enough, was someone noticed I used a particular type of headphones, and they asked like how you unravel them, put them in the case. The video is like 1 minute long. One of my most viewed videos. It took a minute to make, and it makes like tens of thousands of people aware of who I am and what I'm doing. That's absolutely a huge thing that you should be doing. And the power behind it is absolutely massive. So yes, you should be uploading your music to YouTube in 2020, but you shouldn't just be uploading it and expecting things to happen. You need to put some work and energy behind it. If you go back a previous episode on here, I talked about the tools we can use to make sure that happens. But think about the value you want to bring. If you just put your music in front of a random person who's never met you and say, here, take 6 minutes and listen to my track and tell me what you think. Why would they do that? They've they've got busy lives. They don't want to invest 6 minutes of their time into you. They got nothing from you. You have to think up front, like, what can I do for you first? And then, if you enjoyed the music, do you want to listen to some more? And that is massively working now, and it is the way that this whole system's going to work. So 2 actions for you, like, to come out of this video are go and download the Musician's Guide to Streaming if you've already got music out there, because that will help you generate some more momentum behind that. And then work out how you're going to bring a bit of value before a track comes out in a video format. Whether it's explaining the song breakdown, how you recorded something, the artist you worked with, just a face-to-face camera talk like this of why you did it, the meaning behind it, the story of the track, something that's going to, help people identify with it, really build up something of value for them. They're going to get something from it. And remember, value can be entertainment, it could be they enjoyed the story, it could be they learnt something, it could be they got to download something, it could be any number of things that aren't really a cost to you. And then think, how are you going to put the track out itself? Is it going to come to Spotify last, or do you put it on YouTube first, and then knowing that it's going to come out shortly afterwards, link everything to all your other platforms so your YouTube fans can see it and go, oh wow, they're also on Apple Music, Spotify, and join you there. Work out what's going to work for you, and then what are you going to do afterwards, after everything's out, to provide another value again, to bring people back to the first bit of content and to the music. That's my takeaway for you. Like, think that plan, like 3 bits of content around 1 piece of music, and download the Musician's Guide to Streaming so you can much better break down what you're doing on the streaming side of things. Hope the video was helpful for you guys. Thank you very much for subscribing. If you liked the video, please bash a like on it. If you didn't, bash the down button. It lets me know what's most helpful for you guys, and I will see you all on the next one.